What's going on, folks? In case you didn't know, it's Kaijune, which is just a fun little art challenge that tons of artists partake in, where each day has a different theme that you have to incorporate into your designs. And I think by this point, there's probably a challenge for every month, whether it's Mermay for May or Smogus for August and so forth. But for June, we get to crank out some Kaiju designs. So in this video, I just want to share a few different sketches that I did throughout the month. Starting with this one here, whose design revolved around the theme of Hive. Now this is actually an original Kaiju concept of mine from 15 years ago that I wanted to bring back and give a little redesign for modern times. This giant monster is an alien Kaiju known as Megacitius. The original concept was inspired by creature designs like the Xenomorph from Aliens and also Destroya from the Godzilla universe. Now the reason the theme Hive relates to this Kaiju is that this species functions very similarly to insects like bees, where you have one queen, which you see me sketching up here, who towers and rules over the other forms within its hive. For the queen, her body type is somewhat similar to that of a centaur, where she has a very humanoid upper torso, but then her lower body has these 4 insect-like legs and a long barbed tail to inject a lethal toxin into her foes. And since she's the queen, and her primary role is to produce offspring so the hive can expand and conquer planets throughout the galaxy, you'll notice there's a nice juicy little egg sac there hanging below her body. Now with the other forms, you'll see I designed a drone, which serves as the main units who get sent out to take on the largest and most imposing threats. And I kind of loosely based its looks off another one of Godzilla's adversaries, Megaguirus. Then we have the grunts, who are the little small ground units of the hive that go forth to wipe out the smaller creatures of the worlds that they want to infest and overtake, like us humans. And lastly, there's the larva form, which, as its name implies, is what the species looks like when it's hatched from the queen's fat, squishy sack. Overall, it's a fun Kaiju concept to bring back from my art graveyard, so I hope y'all like it. And now, let's move on to the next one. So the theme for this Kaiju concept was Feast. And the first thought that came to mind was something that has a giant mouth that could inhale its foes like a vacuum, akin to something silly like Kirby. And one of the first animals that came to mind that I could use to incorporate into its design was the basking shark, which is a really cool ancient looking shark with a massive mouth. Now when it comes to designing Kaiju, if you really want to stay true to their looks, you need to hit a good blend of both creature and human in their body type, since all your classic Kaiju were just guys dressed in rubber suits. Hence why they have some more human-like forms and structure. So with this ravenous, big, fatty face, I just gave him a simple look with stubby little arms, some extra thick thighs like all the biped Kaijus have in the films, and of course a chunky gut and tail. I wanted to go for more of that Showa era campy kind of feel. And giving him these beady little eyes I think helps convey that as well. Definitely a fun little concept to sketch up here with Basilius the Insatiable. And now let's move on to the next one. The theme of the day for this Kaiju concept was extinct. And there was an endless number of possibilities of extinct animals that I could use for the basis of this one's design, and so I chose to use glyptodonts, and more specifically, the Doedicurus. Doedicurus? Either or, Doedicurus, however you say it. It's basically like the mammalian version of an Ankylosaurus. A living tank of a unit, its body is covered with a giant stone-like shell, and its powerful tail ends with a massive spiked club. A mighty beast of both offensive and defensive prowess. Now, as I tend to do with a lot of my creature concepts, I like to incorporate some fur, so you'll see I did so here as well, and I even gave the dude a beard to boot. His massive forearms and iron-hard claws allow him to tunnel through the mountainsides, where he feels most at home beneath the Earth's surface. Now, just like Basilius, Dromedon here was a pretty straightforward Kaiju design, but fun to draw nonetheless. It's got me thinking about maybe doing some Glyptodont-inspired creatures for my Kolgrath series as well, because I feel like there's some untapped potential with the things I can conjure up with all the different design traits. But anyways, with Dromedon finished here, we can move on to the next sketch. Alrighty, now the theme for this kaiju is cyber. And I was really looking forward to this one in particular because it gave me a reason to bring back one of my favorite original kaiju designs from back in the day, and that being the cybernetic dragon known as Xylogon. The first time I ever conjured up this dude, I had taken some inspiration from the almighty space deity Palkia from Pokemon. Armed with massive shoulder cannons, a plasma blade, and the ability to levitate, Xylogon here is well equipped to eliminate nearly all opposing kaiju in its path. When it came to updating the design, I also decided to incorporate some little elements from series like Tron when it came to that glowing neon orange energy there. And of course, there's a touch of Mechagodzilla, or more specifically Kiryu, in this dude's look as well. You can't have a completed roster of kaiju without some sort of mech, and I think Xylogon here plays that part pretty well. So I hope y'all dig it. And last but not least, I got one more sketch for y'all in today's video. The theme for this last kaiju was mythic. So I had to think about what sort of mythological creature I could use as the basis for this giant monster. And the one I landed on was the infamous Midgard serpent, Jormungandr. Now, of course, there have been tons of different designs and iterations of the world serpent throughout popular culture, and my favorite is probably the one from God of War. I didn't want to make mine look too similar to how that one looked, though, so instead of it being a giant snake, I went more towards the route of it being like a giant eel-like creature instead. All the kaiju sketches I had done for this video were all pretty rough and loose, but for whatever reason, I kind of just zoned out when drawing this one up here, so I ended up doing a little bit more of like a fully rendered concept. For the color palette, I went through a bunch of different photo references from eels, and I found this one in particular that was like this sort of muted pinkish purple with like a touch of orange and yellow around its skull, which seemed pretty interesting to me, so that's what I decided to go with. I felt like it would be a better choice than going the route of coloring it some sort of, generic blue, since most Jormungandr designs I've seen in the past all seem to kind of go that route. And just imagine the amount of sushi rolls you can make out of this kaiju here. Oh my god, it would be glorious. Endless eel rolls as far as the eye can see. Sensational. I really want some sushi right now. Like for real, I'm actually starving right now. In fact, that's it. Video's over, folks. Like and subscribe. I'm gonna go tear some sushi up. Peace.